In today's show, we're going to talk about building a PowerApps calendar. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start with a blank screen. We're going to bolt a bunch of galleries together, but we're going to make the calendar completely dynamic to respond to the dates. And we're going to do a lot of calculations, a lot of fun math stuff to make that all work. But so then that way we can set ourselves up to start pulling in calendar data and working with that from SharePoint and such. Should be fun. Should be fast. But first, here's our intro. Hi, my name is Shane Young with PowerApps 911, those guys. And today, we're going to build a PowerApps calendar component. And we're going to do the whole thing by hand from scratch because I need a couple things, right? One is I want to teach you a bunch of cool stuff about galleries. We're going to reinforce some stuff we've learned about dates before. But more importantly, I need you to understand how it actually works. So when you guys ask me questions like, hey, how do I adapt this to a week view? Or how do I have it start on Mondays instead of Sundays, which we will cover. But when you start asking those types of questions, I want you to understand how the calendar is built so you can figure those pieces out for yourself instead of relying on me to teach you. So that's really the goal here, is to build this thing from the ground up. And then this will also set us up, because this will be part one. And in part two, which I promise I will make next week, 7 days from today. In part two, what we will do is we will talk about like pulling data in from a SharePoint list and showing some data, across or events on the calendar, and not even events on the calendar that are single days, because that's pretty easy, but talk about solving that multi-day challenge, which I know a bunch of you also have questions on. So that's our plan. Let's just switch over to my desktop and take a look. With that crazy concept of having the end in mind from the beginning, I thought I would show you kind of, this is what I built after, a day of playing with this and trying to make it pretty. If you watch any of my other videos, you know that I'm terrible at pretty, so this took a lot of work. And I can tell you that my UA people still think that, or not UIA people, UI, UX, I don't even know what that is. Whatever. Those people still think it's too busy, but I don't care. I like this one. Anyway, what I wanted to kind of cover here on this calendar was, I can go in here. So this was September 2021. I don't know why I'm there, but I can flip around, June. So here's interesting. I want you to notice that May is a month that requires 6 weeks to show, right? Because it starts on a Saturday and it goes through. So the calendar does account for that. I had to test that and, make sure all those scenarios worked. And I think I found all of them, because I think that's the reason I was out here in September. Oh, because August is the first month that started on the Sunday. I want to make sure it worked for that. It did. So I felt pretty good about this was all working. So if we jump back here to March, you'll also see, so today is 3/21. So that day I made that white. Once again, I was just trying to kind of play with ideas, make sure I kind of understood how it worked. And then just to show you kind of where we're heading in the future, if I click on this. And so here you can see what we'll probably do. Not probably, we'll definitely figure out next week, which is how to put these events on here, have multi-days, that type of stuff. So a lot of fun. Yeah. So remember, if you just want this calendar, like, yes, I'm sold. I want to download that exact purple calendar right now. Cool. You can go out to training.powerapps911.com and sign up for the curated library, and you can download this video and this app and all the other apps that I build. So very powerful tool there for just a couple bucks a month. So check that out. Also, if you want to be notified when I make this other one, hit the subscribe button, people. I need more subscribers. Please do that. Thank you. All right. Anyway, so now that we've kind of seen this, I want to kind of build this thing, but I don't want to start with magic for you guys. So what I want to do is go over here and start with a nice blank screen and put this thing together. And it's going to really be two things, right? One is going to be understanding galleries a little bit deeper than you might already. So we're going to get into that. And then two is we're going to try and understand more of the date logic of how we do these things. And we're going to show you some tricks I figured out. Okay, I learned something we're going to show you right now. So first off, let's throw a gallery in here. So I'm going to say up here in my little menu, insert a gallery in vertical. And so then I am going to change its view to just be title. And so one of the things that we have never talked about on the channel before is with a gallery, you are able to come in here and you can say, hey, gallery, there is something called the wrap count. So this is how many columns it does before it starts wrapping to multiple rows. So as you know, there is 7 days in a week. If you change this to 7, look at that. It jumps and does a 7. Interesting. So then now you're like, all right, well, I probably need to do that whole Sunday to, Saturday type of thing. And so I typed that out the first time. And then I remembered somewhere along the way, I learned that you can do this whole calendar. There's a calendar function. So I want calendar.weekdays long. And if we do that, now if we go into our gallery and say, hey, instead of trying to show me sample heading, which is not there anymore, you can do .value. We're going to delete the little arrow because we don't need that. And so I'm going to just grab these and pull these across. And look at that. We now have a gallery that is showing us the 7 days of the week. We're only going to ever have the one row. So just kind of pull this up here. And so then now that we've got that in place, what I want to do, let's see, there's that. I'm going to get rid of the bottom separator. I don't want that. And I'm going to take these labels. We're going to do a couple quick things with them. One is I'm going to center them. And two, because I kept having problems with balance and things like that, what I'm going to do with this title is we're going to stick one of those responsive concepts in here. So I'm going to say title, I want your width to just be gallery 4, and I want you to be template width, right? So remember, that is how you just set the width of the little cards, or the little, they call them templates in galleries. So gallery 4 template width, that gets us what we need. And so then now I should be able to pull this thing up a little more. Let's see. I'm just going to pull this to the top. I'm going to make this guy this high. And so I should be able to pull this all the way up. And look at that. Now we've got nice little pieces. And if you wanted to have some type of divider between the dates, remember what you're going to do here is you're going to just throw in a rectangle. Oh, but not there. You can put your rectangle inside of this thing. So icons, rectangle. And so then I just set its width over here. Where is width? I can't find width, right here. I'm going to set its width to be a 1. And then I'm going to say, hey, I want your X, right? So your X is how far you are left to right. So instead of being 40, what I want you to be is I want you to be all the way against the edge. So I'm actually going to go up here so I can write a formula and say, hey, X, you're going to be gallery 4 dot template width minus 1. And so then that puts it on the very edge. And so now we've got that divider. Woohoo! So that was, the way that I did that. There's a bunch of those little mechanics that we're not going to get into, but I want you to be thinking creatively as you start to figure out, how do I want this to look? How do I want to make sure that same rectangle is tall enough, right? What would I say? I'd say, hey, your Y is 0, right? Start at the top, but then your height is just going to be gallery 4 dot template height. And so then now you know that it's taking up the whole row. And so then I'd be like, hey, gallery 4, you know what? I want your height for the whole gallery to actually be gallery 4 dot template height. Boom. So now we've got a nice tight little setup there for our top bar. Easy enough. So all right, so that kind of gets us going. So now we need to make the days. So I struggled with how to show you guys this the easiest way possible, so we're going to try and make it easy. So we're going to throw another gallery on here, and I just use vertical, it doesn't matter, it's going to get changed in a second. I'm just going to make it stretch across, take the whole board. I'm going to say only show me one field. And we're going to do the same type of thing, right? I need your wrap count to be 7. And so then we're going to get rid of the little arrow. We're going to get rid of the little separator. And I guess we're going to rename this, right? So we'll call this gal, so the top one, we're just going to call it gal list of days. I just don't want to get you guys get confused about which one is what. So then this is going to be gallery month view. So we'll just call this gal month view. All right. So now that we've got gal month view laid out, we're going to set the items. And so to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to just set the items just to be 1 to 35, right? So 5 weeks, 7. We're going to have to come back and revisit this, but we're going to kind of get the basics going before we get fancy. So we're going to use the sequence function, and I'm just going to say, hey, give me a sequence of the numbers 1 to 35. And then in our gallery now, we'll say edit in the formula bar, and this item dot value. And so you go. We now have a list of 1 to 35. And this is important because having these items is what we're going to do, because we're going to do everything else based off of date math. And so we need a way just to have an ordered list out like this. So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out basically, what is the first day of the current month? Okay, so we're going to use labels at first just to kind of make our lives so we can see things. And so the way that I did this is I just said, all right, give me the month of today. Oh, but it's, no, it is month. Month of today. And so that would spit out a 3, right? It's March, 3rd month, perfect. And now we're just going to build a string of the first day of that month. I don't know why. This is kind of the way it worked in my brain. I can think of like 7 other ways to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it. So I built a string just like this. And then for the end here, we're going to use the year function and then say the year of today also. And so there you can see that that is 3/1/2021. So that is the first day of the month that we're currently in, right? That's how I got it to it. Like I said, I can think of other ways to do it, but that'll work. And so as we figure these things out, I'm gonna have a little button over here that we're just going to save these into, because in reality, I need that as a variable. So now that we know that works, I'm gonna say set var video month. Probably should start with a blank app so I didn't use the same names again, but you know, what do you do? Like that. And then we're just gonna copy this formula. Now, keep in mind that right now, this is all just text. I need this actually to be a date. So we're just going to take all of that. We're going to use the date value function that turns a text date into a date date. And why are we doing that? Because I need the date to be a date date. So then that way we have full access, to it to do date math, which is what we're going to do here in just a moment. So there you go. If we press the button, then let's see. So that goes right here. We'll just say, all right, give me another text label. And over here in this other label, we're just going to say, show me var video month. That is not how you spell video, but what do you do? All right. Oh, let's fix that. It's going to drive me crazy now. You guys probably saw it in real time, didn't you? Press the button, and then we go over here because that variable doesn't exist anymore. That video does. Okay. Cool. So but we know that the first day of March, when I pull my calendar up, the first day of March was actually a Monday, so we can't just jump right in. So what we really need to do is figure out what is the Sunday of the week of the first day of the month. That's why we needed that first day of the month. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little more math. So we will just throw another label up here. And so in this label, what we want to do is we want to take, remember there's this function called Weekday. And so Weekday, you provided a day, so var video month. And so it says, hey, the day of the week of this thing is a 2. So we're like, oh, well, that's good. So then what does that tell me? That the first day of the month would be backwards 1, right? But what we're actually going to do is we're going to say, I don't want this date right here, right? This Sunday should be 2/28. I don't want this to be 2/28. I want to store 2/27, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the 2/27, we're going to add 1 to it. And so that would make this 2/28. Add 2 to it, which would make it 3/1, and my calendar should line up. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, I want to have, so we know that gives us a 2. We're going to do DateAdd, and we're going to take var first day of the month, and we are going to subtract, so we just do like that. We just put a minus sign right there, days from it. Oh, days. And so then what does that give me? Oh, it gives me 2/27. Whoa. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to copy that. We're going to go over here. We're going to say set video, or set var video. I'm going to spell video correctly first, right this time. And we're going to call this first day view. We're going to paste that formula right there. We're going to close our parentheses and do that. And press this button. And now var first day video is 2/27. Okay. Here we go. Now we can do magic. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to leave this 1 on here. Okay. I want us to see the values, because the value is important as you guys start to do math and you try to figure out like what is this day and what is that day. So you want to see it. You want to be very comfortable that it's there. So we're just going to add a second label. So I'm going to throw another label up here. We'll just kind of stretch it across from now. And we'll say, hey, you, I want you to be a couple things. I want you to be DateAdd, var video, first day in the view, so 2/27. And I want you to add to that this item.value. And we're going to add days. What? Boom. That's awesome, right? That to me is really exciting because look at that. All of a sudden now we have a way to get dynamically, because as we're going to look at in a second, we're going to add and show and move dates around, but that gets us exactly what we wanted. The math works. We like math that works, right? I'm going to double check my calendar. 4/3 is the last day to show up. Yes. The 31st is on a Wednesday. Yes. What? So in reality, right, we don't have to show this value. We can delete this out of the view, and you will as you build your calendar, right? We saw that in the bigger calendar, but I wanted this on the screen. And I want you to leave it on the screen until you are completely comfortable with what's happening here, because it helps you understand. Because what we did, remember, is we just figured out that the first day of the view is actually, well, it's actually the first day of the view -1, but the first day that we need is 2/27. So we got that dynamically by using the weekday function. Whoop. And then once we got that dynamically, we're just able to say add to 2/27, add 1 to it, it's 2/28, add 2 is 3/1, etc., etc., etc. That gets us in the whole month. Like it? I hope you like that. Okay, so that's the first piece, right? So these are your initial values. Now, typically, instead of having these on a button like this, where would you put this code, right? You'd copy all this, and then you'd go to app on start, right? You'd want to have that in your app on start, because when the app first opens, you want these set. You don't want your user to have to click this, button that says, start here. You don't want your users to use this, but we needed to build it out ourselves. So now that it works, we just copy this, put this onto the app on start, and it would all fire. So speaking of buttons, now what I want to do is, how would we add a month? Fair question. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to say, give me another button. I am going to, I guess I should have duplicated this. We're going to copy this. But what we're going to do here is we're going to say, all right, so we know that we don't actually need, right? We know that VAR video month has already been created, right, at this point, right? Because it would have been created on start. So when they press the plus button, I just need to increment that. So what we're going to do here, instead of all of this shenanigans, let's get rid of this, is we're going to say, I want you to be DateAdd var video month. var video month. And I want you to add 1. And look, when you're adding, you can add 1 months. Sounds weird, but you add 1. So then that would take our March 1st date, which is already stored in this variable, right? It's currently March 1st. We know it is. And so we're going to take our March 1st and we're going to increment that to April 1st. And then we're going to just back our way into it. So I think that it's just simply by pressing this button. What are you mad about? You got a month. Let's see. DateAdd, var video month. I think it's not really mad. So we're going to press button. What are you mad about? DateAdd, var video month. Control X. So let's do that. Let's just put our formula right back. PowerApps. No. Yeah. So this is PowerApps doing its best to be dumb, because we corrupted the variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back. Put our formula back. It's mad. I get it. We're going to click on start here. So I'm holding down the Alt key, press start here. And then now we'll press this button. And everybody's happy. So I have this problem a lot with this set of controls, because all these dates are interconnected. When you break one by typing a formula into it, PowerApps gets confused. And so I just have to kind of trick it into being happy. But right at the end of the day, this is the correct code. And so then now if we take this, and now if we press, let's see, let's just make sure this is right. So var video month, take the current month, add a month, and then var, oh, I used the wrong formula right here. This should be var video first day, var video month. Yeah, you guys let me make a mistake. How rude. No. There we go. So now that we've got both of those in there, now if we press the button, so we'll start here. All right, 2/28, that all looks good. We'll press this button. And so does April 1st start on a Thursday? Let me double check. April 1st starts on a Thursday. Last view should be 5/1 in that mood. Let's see, April 5/1. Success. Okay, we're doing great. Ready for a little more complexity in our lives, right? So obviously, and this is add, so what would subtract be? Just so we're all, right, I don't want to jump to conclusion. So let's just copy the add button. We'll put the subtract here. And so subtract would just be the same exact formula, but you just make this a negative. Oh, not like that. You make this a -1. And so then now that should let us go backwards, 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 forward, 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 start back. Okay, so we can move back and forth. Cool, cool. So now that we can move back and forth, let's move into May. So April. Oh, you know what? Another thing we're not doing a very good job of, let's still label up here at the top. A little bonus on the side here. This should just be the month of var video first day. Oh, no. var video of month. And then we'll just say, we'll wrap that in a text function. And we'll say, just show me MM. Oh, all right. Change that. Text var video month. There you go. And so then we're just going to use the format of, let's do the 4M one. There you go. So now it says April up at the top in nice big bold letters. Change that to like that and like that. Okay. So now I know what month I'm in. Because what I want you to do is just make sure that works. It does. Is we're going to go to May. So now if we go to May, remember I told you in the lead in that May, needs 6 weeks. So 5/1, 5/29, we're missing 5/30 and 5/31. Womp womp. So what we've got to do there is we're going to have to now go talk about making this number instead of hard-coded at 35, right? Like one of the ways you could do it is hard-coded at 42 and then just hide the extra days. Boo. We instead are going to do some quick little math for that. And so before we do that math, let's go do it up in a label, right? Easier. So I wrote a really awesome, amazing, complex formula to do this. I was like so proud. It had like 2 widths nested inside of each other and a mod, and it was awesome. And I was like, wait a minute, I was trying too hard. So I found an easier formula. So I thought I'd just share that with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's do a DateDiff, right? That compares the difference between 2 dates, between var video first day in the view and the, it's DateAdd, and our var video month. We want to take that and we want to add to it 1 month, right? So when we're in April, we want to get May, because what I really want to know is the difference between the March date and the May 1st. How many days are between those two? So we're going to add a month to that. And so then that, and we're going to say I want the difference in days just so PowerApps doesn't guess and mess up. And so you can see that that is 38, which makes sense in May, right? So what I'm saying is from 4/25 to 6/5, that is 38 days. So that tells you it's more than 35, right? 7 times 5, which 5 weeks would be 35. So to show 38 days, we're actually going to need 6 weeks on our calendar. So to do that, what I want you to do is you got the formula now. So we're going to say, hey, if that is greater than 35, then I need this to be 42. And if not, I need this to be 35. So right now, right, we get it out to 42. That gives us the whole view that we need. Nice. But the beauty of that formula is when we go backwards to April, it doesn't work. Oh, it says 35 up here. Blech. So now that we've got that done, so it works, you got to go up here to your sequence and change your sequence to use that number. So there we go. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. We go forward 1, 6 weeks, back to 5 weeks, right? And then, oh, looks like I didn't even notice July is a 6th week. Does that make sense? So July 1st is on a Thursday. July 31st is on here. Oh, so look, I found a bug in my system because this is exactly 35. So we should have stopped here. So look at that. My formula is not perfect. So if my date is greater than 36, there we go. So July works. This is why we test. June is correct. May is correct. April, boom, boom. And then the one I like to check was out here. I think it's September. No, it's August. That is exactly. So August starts on the 1st. There you go. So we've confirmed one that starts on the 1st works. We've confirmed one that ends on the 1st works. And we confirmed one that needed to go over like May all worked. So there you go. It's that crazy formula. Right, I'll leave that in there for you. But so that, and if you're thinking like, Shane, why did you have to do 36, right? Because in my head I did 35 and I got messed up by that. Because what's the first thing we do, right? Is we add 1. Remember, we're actually, even though the first day in our view, let's go back to the month that I know. Remember, even though the first day in our view was 227, the first day we show is 228 because we're adding 1. So that's why we needed to see if the difference was 36, not 35. So glad I caught that because you guys would have caught it in the comments and yelled at me. So, whew, crisis averted. All right. I feel like we're doing pretty good here. So a couple other little things here. One of them is, I just want to remind you guys that if you wanted to do something special, like remember I color coded my today. So what would you do there? Well, these labels, they have a fill. And so you can set that to whatever you want. That's how I got the purple on the other one. But maybe I just want to highlight today in red. So I would just do something like this and say, hey, if self.text, and then we're going to turn that into a date. So we're going to say date value, self.text. And so that's just its value. If that value is equal to today, then make it red. If not, make it white. And so then now 321 is in red. Remember, self is a way for control to self-reference itself. So what is currently stored in my own text? And we had to turn it into a date value because we want to compare it to today, which would output a day. But so then that gives you the ability to understand what day of the week or month or whatever you are, year, I don't know, what day you're on. It gives you the ability to figure that out. So that was pretty cool. Another piece of this on the text function. So I know that all my friends across the pond, right? You do not like our whole month, day, year. Remember, you just throw a date function or you just throw a text function around this thing. I'm going to say turn that date into that crazy thing you guys like, right? DDMM Y. And so there you go. So now it is in a more European happy format, which confuses my American friends, but there you go. So that would be how you guys could do that. We're going to get rid of that because it confuses me also. And then the other one that I wanted to cover real quick, one of my friends from Germany on Twitter said, we start on Mondays. How would you do that? So all he would have to do is take this screen that we just built. We're going to duplicate this so that way we don't mess up our main one. And so all we're going to do now is we're going to just change this formula. So here where we did getting the date of the first day of the month, that doesn't change. But right here where we do the weekday function, we're going to say, hey, instead of the weekday starting on Sunday, I want it to start on Monday. So just go to the weekday function, just do a comma, and you type in Monday, and that will tell that function to start on a Monday. And so then now what we should see, if this works, is the first day of my calendar should become 3/1. So we'll press start here. And so there you go. Now my first day is 3/1. Now, unfortunately, I could not find a quick way for you to flip these around. So what I ended up doing earlier when I was practicing was I just went and typed them all in, right? I just copied all that. And so I just had to type it out. So maybe there's a trick to do that, but I don't know it. But so there you go. So now that would be what a Monday-based calendar would look like. You would, of course, now that we fixed this button, just remember to go fix this button as well, because I did not do that in my first test. It's Monday. So I had to fix that button, and then I had to fix this button right here. And there you go. So now that we've got that, now we would have a Monday-based calendar. So it should start on 3/29 if we go forward a month. So add, boom. What? Let's just make sure May works still. Boom. Yeah. All right. So I thought that was a fun one. Another request I got on Twitter that I'm not going to do today, but I can do in the future if more of you want to see it, is someone asked me to build a week view. So instead of a 5 or full month view of the calendar, just a week view. So I thought we could definitely do that. The problem is I had to kind of change several pieces of the logic. It wasn't one little quick tweak like that one was. So we'll make that in a future video. But yeah, so now that you guys have got that, right, now you understand all this, you could just, let's get off of this one. Let's go back to our normal one. We could get that out of there. And so now we're cooking, right? Now we have a proper view of all these. And so what we're going to do in next week's video is we're going to start inserting a gallery inside of here so we can start to browse and understand what's going in here. Also, just keep in mind in this particular one, right, I did a lot of formatting, but really it's just a bunch of, it's a bunch of different types of ifs. So here you can see, like, remember we just talked about, I did the whole fill, right? And so there was how I did the fill that time. I wrote the formula different than I wrote it this time because why wouldn't I? It's just what I do. But so, that was how I was able to do the different color coding. And so here you can see that I had one color coding for if it was the 21st, which is today, and made that white. And then I said, if the month of self.text is equal to the var first day month, so if we're in March and we're showing March, do purple, and then if not, do the faded purple. So that was how I got that kind of complete color coding. So there's the formula that I used for that. I also, you'll notice here, like I had a, so this is a rectangle for the right-hand side to get the lines this way. And then I had the rectangle at the bottom because I wanted this bottom row to show up down here. I ended up putting a border around the whole thing so I could see it a little nicer. I did that. I also, you want to see another little trick? So the right border, I don't want the right border on Saturday, right? If you go look at the one that we just built together, which is right here, notice like up here, remember we did the dates, but we had the weird little border over here. I ignored it the first time. So what I ended up doing to get rid of that, go back over here to my gallery right, is I set the visible property and I said, hey, if I divide you by 0, right, so, or divide you by 7, so I use the mod function, I love the mod function, then if you're not equal to 0, show. Because Saturday, 7 divided by 7 will be 7, or will be 0, right? So it doesn't show on Saturday, but it shows on all the other days of the week. So that's how I didn't end up with a double border over here. So a lot of those little things. Remember, you can download this whole working app, with all the niceties of this one from training.powerapps911.com and the curated library. So just go steal the thing. There's like 400 more little tricks in here for that. But yeah, so this went way too long. So I apologize, but hopefully you guys are feeling good about this, right? That you feel like you can build this. Because once you can build this, then next week we can talk about, we're going to stick a gallery inside of here. And so we're going to have child galleries. What? Yeah, child galleries is going to be the key to us showing the data of, going forward on the actual individual days. So awesome. Awesome. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I answer all of them. And I'm kind of caught up right now. Like not all the way caught up, but pretty close. Kind of exciting. So that is a lot of fun. If I can do anything, reach out to us over at PowerApps 911. We build this type of stuff for customers all the time. So happy to do that for you as well. And with that, I'm going to say thanks and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to click on the subscribe button over here so that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. If you need any help or you want to work together, whether your problem is big or small, check us out at PowerApps 911. We do it all. I rhymed. Or if you're looking for more formal training offerings, we have those They're linked up here somewhere, so check them out. Thanks and have a great day.